Chronicles of the Digital Wild, the crucible of validation and the gateways of infiltration, the test of the defender. Arming oneself with an abstract catalogue of cyber threats is merely the foundational step in establishing an active defence. True mastery in the digital theatre demands the precise intellectual capability to match an observed architectural behaviour with its absolute threat classification. When a security architect stands before a flickering dashboard or evaluates a compromised system, they must transition from theoretical understanding to decisive validation. Testing one's core knowledge under pressure is the crucible that transforms passive awareness into defensive operational capability, the analytical matrix, designed to track online activity and capture data. Consider the first evaluation metric a cybersecurity professional must confront, an entity explicitly engineered to operate beneath the threshold of user perception. When we classify code that is actively, we are dealing precisely with the mechanics of spyware. This silent parasite systematically cataloguing a user's every habit, credential, and financial secret confirms the diagnostic profile. The immediate intellectual response to this specific pattern must be unyielding IT spyware, and its presence demands swift containment before data integrity is lost forever. Automatically delivers advertisements, in stark contrast to the silent observer. The matrix presents a far louder, yet equally insidious variable, software structured to systematically force automated visual artifacts onto a user interface. When confronted by an architecture that the diagnosis shifts definitively to adware. This software hijacks the browser environment, turning screen real estate into real-time advertising real estate. Recognizing this pattern is vital, not merely to suppress the visual annoyance, but to preemptively sever the underlying spyware links that commonly ride alongside these aggressive pop-ups. Holds a computer system captive until a payment is made, moving deeper into the validation exercise. The stakes escalate from simple manipulation to an overt, high-intensity hostage scenario when evaluating code that explicitly. The identity of the threat is clear: ransomware. This malicious mechanism locks down databases under strong cryptographic encryption, turning corporate assets into leverages for extortion. There is no ambiguity in this profile. It is a direct assault on availability, demanding an immediate deployment of business continuity and incident response protocols. Attaches to legitimate programs and spreads via physical media, network shares, or email. The matrix further challenges our classification logic by introducing highly mobile biological architectural analogues when tracking malicious code that we witness the classical life cycle of a virus. Because this contagion is incapable of independent animation, it requires a host program to act as its vector, riding silently inside standard documents and executable files. Recognizing this heavy reliance on user interaction and host attachment is the defining factor that separates a virus from more autonomous threats. Replicates itself independently by exploiting network vulnerabilities. Finally, the evaluation presents the apex of independent, network-driven contagions when examining malicious code that we face the pure, unrestricted operational nature of a worm, unbound by the limitations of a host program and requiring absolutely no human intervention to propagate. The worm moves through network topology with terrifying, exponential speed. Identifying this autonomous replication loop is paramount to halting its spread before it compromises an entire global infrastructure. The threat beyond the horizon. Successfully matching these diverse malware types to their exact behaviors provides a vital defensive blueprint for any organization. However, achieving this baseline clarity instantly reveals an even more pressing structural question that looms over the modern enterprise perimeter. While knowing the distinct characteristics of these digital weapons is crucial, we must urgently ask, how exactly do these cybercriminals gain entry into our private networks and protected systems in the first place? The harsh reality of the digital landscape is that malicious actors do not rely on a single golden key. Instead, they have an expansive, highly sophisticated arsenal of delivery systems, entry mechanisms, and psychological exploits at their immediate disposal. They stand at the gates, continuously scanning for open software vulnerabilities, crafting deceptive social engineering campaigns, and exploiting complex supply chain dependencies to establish their initial foothold. Understanding these incoming vectors is the next critical frontier in the perpetual war for data sovereignty. Strategic insight classification is merely the post-mortem of a breach. True security requires stopping the infiltration before it begins. Recognizing that cybercriminals possess an extensive array of entry vectors is the realization that shifts an organization from a reactive, diagnostic posture to an aggressive, proactive defensive strategy. The next phase of mastery demands that we pivot from studying what malware does to hardening the exact gateways through which it arrives.
Bạn muốn học mạng máy tính nhanh hơn, hiệu quả hơn và có người đồng hành xuyên suốt? Khóa học mạng máy tính 1-1 sẽ mang đến cho bạn một giảng viên hướng dẫn riêng, xây dựng lộ trình học phù hợp với trình độ và mục tiêu của bạn. Bạn sẽ được thực hành liên tục trên các bài lab thực tế, rèn luyện kỹ năng cấu hình và xử lý sự cố mạng như trong doanh nghiệp. Với lịch học linh hoạt, hỗ trợ tận tình và tập trung 100% vào sự tiến bộ của từng học viên, bạn sẽ tự tin chinh phục chứng chỉ kỹ sư mạng quốc tế và sẵn sàng bước vào sự nghiệp quản trị mạng doanh nghiệp. Khóa học mạng máy tính 1-1 học đúng trọng tâm, thực hành chuyên sâu, sẵn sàng cho công việc thực tế.